so that's every year too, Colleen?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you okay with
Okay.
this, Lee? I
Yes,
am.
thank you. Yeah.
I am too, Colleen, so that's approved.
Okay.
We've got a sign off for the building department for well and septic, lot 3 Morgan. Now, we've already signed off, Colleen, on the septic on this one. We've approved that, and this is, we've now got the well, and the well looks fine. It doesn't violate any of the standards. Actually looks like pretty good water. Are we okay to sign off on the building permit, Lee?
Sure. Yes.
I am too, Colleen. So
Okay.
that's approved.
Okay, I can sign that. All right, thank you.
Okay. The next one is 326. Actually, this is, so we've got, later on, there's a Title V inspection for 326, but this is 326 Bachelor Street. This is for D-box and tank. And this is Charlie Mayhew's. Lee, are we good with that?
Yeah, both pieces are in as required and hooked up. Everything should be just fine over there. Thank you.
So I'm okay with that. Actually, that turned out good from our discussion last meeting. We said that if the tank was no good when they went to hook it up, we changed the tank, and apparently from what the Title V inspection report said that it was cracked and had to be replaced. So that's a good thing. I'm good with that too, Colleen. So we approve that. It is
Okay.
interesting that when I look at the Title V, the inspector made a couple comments about the Board of Health, kind of wanting to know what the leach field would look like and where the water was, and seemed to say, well, the Board of Health made me dig up that pipe to find that cracked tank. So the Board of Health is at fault for having that bad tank replaced. But again, as the discussion from the last meeting, this particular inspector seems not to say, wow, am I glad we dug that up to find that broken tank, instead of saying you Board of Health guys are bad guys for having us find this. So anyways.
Well, yeah, that was the impression we were getting, trying to save the homeowner from the potential triple damages. Because if somebody buys that house with a couple of more than, 2 people and they start to use it, then there's a real chance of that bleeding into the yard.
Yeah, and
fairly
it's,
soon.
yeah, you start looking at a 40 or 50-year-old tank that shows sign of corrosion on the inside. That's only 1,000 gallons instead of 1,500, and anyways, luckily,
All we're trying to do is to ensure that the next buyer gets, a correct system for themselves and the environment. And the same thing for the next system that the seller goes into, where we've done as much due diligence as possible to ensure that they don't buy a headache.
yeah.
But
And I find it interesting, and that whoever, whether it's that same inspector or whatever, who hired the soil evaluator to look for the water table, told him to stop digging, and on his Title V, it said it. I went down below the bottom of the leach field, and that's enough. I wasn't going to find the water table. I just wanted it to pass Title V, and that's it. In fact, as I recall, when Charlie Konecki wrote down, he said that they didn't ask me to go find the water table. They just told me to dig 5 feet deep and shut me off. And again, when this guy apparently goes to absolutely the minimum he can get away with, and at some time, I think my prediction is that his minimum that he can get away with is gonna end up in court sometime, and a jury is gonna say, you know what? You're not going according to what the intent of Title V is, and you'll end up paying for a new septic system sometime. But that's a jury to decide that.
Sure.
Next items, we have, actually now we have 4 Title V's. One of them is funny, it doesn't comment. I think that on Neil Jackson's on 14 Sherwood Drive, on the well, it said that on the Title V, it said, what was the water reading on for the last 2 years? I think it makes that request, and Neil wrote down that it's a private well, and I thought that 14 Sherwood Drive is city water, but I may be wrong. But
Oh, yeah, I'm not sure about that. There are hydrants on that street
yeah,
on East, but I don't know, if they went down. Well, I tell you though, we've done a couple Title V's here and there, we're in Sherwood and Acrebrook, and a lot of those houses that I been at over the last couple of years, have actually been on wells.
okay, so maybe as it turns out, it was a good Title V anyways. But so we've got 14 Sherwood Drive, Neil Jackson passing, 15 Kellogg Street, Neil Jackson passing, 167 Taylor Street, Neil Jackson passing, and now we have 326 Bachelor with Greg Everson passes. Lee, are we all set for all 4 of those?
We are.
So Colleen, I'm okay with it too, so we can receive all 4 of those.
Okay,
They let's see, it's only 7:05, so our meeting with Union Mart doesn't start until 7:15. So I guess we can keep going. I did take it out of order, but Chris Martin sent me a note saying he has not received our budget. And he also asked if I had talked with Lynn Dinez about what she would be requiring to make her happy about doing our inspections. Lynn has not gotten back to me. I did talk to her, and she did say, I don't remember if I mentioned it at the last meeting, but she did say that when she was living in Wilbraham, she was ready to quit us and say it's just not worth it to do this. And she said that she lives in Granby now, and she's okay, not happy, but just on the okay side of not giving us up. So she's gonna come up with something, a proposal that she thinks would make her and another inspector in the future, or another inspector, not and another inspector, be happy with the inspecting arrangements. But anyways, in terms of Chris Martin, Lee, do we want to just send Chris what Colleen had worked up?
I think that would be at least, if not a completion, at least a really, really good start.
Okay, Colleen, I can support that too, at least to get something in the system. And so if you could do that, Colleen,
sure, yes.
and I will get back to Chris and tell him about about a Lynn and what I've got her trying to work on.
Okay,
The next one that I have is Dollar General tobacco permit application. Colleen, have you received anything from Dollar General saying they've got the
not a
permit
thing.
from the state?
No, not a thing.
Lee, at our last minute meeting, we said that when Dollar General sent in their paperwork and the supporting documents, we would vote on their tobacco permit. They've said that they're not selling. Apparently, Bill went in and verified that there's not tobacco for sale. Do we just say, okay, we'll put this on the agenda for the next meeting and see if Dollar General submits the documentation?
Yes, at this point, I'm a little surprised. Of course, it's not my job, but surprised that there hasn't been more enthusiasm to get this accomplished, but that's up to them.
Yeah, the manager, when I spoke to her, the store manager said that the district manager was calling corporate office every day, trying to find the status and, you know, but, other than that, I haven't heard back from anybody.
Okay. Okay. Entirely in their,
Yep. Yep.
agenda to get at it, not ours.
Okay, so Colleen, then what we've said is we'll put this on our next agenda.
Okay,
The next one is the annual report. I took a shot at the annual report. I took Colleen's version that she had marked up last year's and with the right data, and I changed some words around to fit what happened to us last year compared to the year before. And are you okay with submitting that, Lee?
Sure, yes.
Okay, Colleen, I am too, so if you can just turn that in.
okay, yes, I will.
The next, let's see, what time is it? We're not,
Ally, you're
we're not,
not quite.
we'll wait in the event that Bill tunes in. We'll hang on to the 7:15. What I asked Colleen to put on this agenda, Lee, is in the event that we don't keep our remote meeting capability, we need to have a place to meet. And I am thinking, do we try to set this up for Colleen to reserve the safety complex conference room?
My first thought is yes. My second thought is I don't know, going forward, what, if any, air quality, is included in that office. As far
Chris?
as, air exchanges.
I can ask Chris, but Chris, now a couple years ago, had been looking at changing the filtration to make it better. And I don't think he did that. There's some makeup there. I'm just wondering if we go there, if we end up having to buy some kind of a portable HEPA filter that protects us while we're in there.
Yeah, something maybe similar to what they have introduced in the school system.
Yeah, that's what I would be thinking. You know, it's about $1,000. I can ask Chris when I'm talking to him. I can see what I can find out. But sort of that meeting room, which is, I'm guessing is one of the better meeting rooms. I don't know what else we can do.
Yeah, I agree. We're being forced into a scenario that I didn't think we'd be forced into, but here we are. But
Oh.
yeah, I mean, I think if we're gonna be doing it live again, then we need to attempt to make steps to protect Colleen, of course, any and all meeting participants.
I guess if we end up going in there, I can go in and look at it and see what airflows look like and see if we can find a way to position people in a way that minimizes the chances of transmission of diseases. But I guess we have to at least get Colleen to get us a place. So Colleen, can you do that? And
Yeah,
I'm guessing we want to take a look at 6 months worth of meetings or something like that.
okay.
Okay, we're at our 7:15. It looks like Ally is with us. Can you hear us, Ally?
Yes, Mr. Richard.
So you've requested a meeting with us as our smoking regulations allow you to do after a fine has been levied. And we have fined you the $100 a day for selling tobacco products without a permit. And we talked about how we should handle it, and we considered each one of the days as a separate event. But instead of calling the events a first event, the second event, the third event, a fourth event, which ends up running the fines up higher and higher after each event, we ended up calling them a multiple occasion of the first event. And you requested Colleen to schedule you a meeting with us to, I believe, discuss why we shouldn't be doing that. The floor is yours, Ally.
Yes, Mr. Richard. Yes, Mr. Richard. Because my counter, he applied all my lessons, and I thought he applied that too. And that was my first time in a Granby also, and that's why I got a little bit confused. I thought my counter, I already applied for it, but because the store is not fully switched under my name, so that's why everything got a little bit confused, and I get delay on those to get new lessons.
Are you aware that this board sent you letters multiple times telling you that that you needed to
No,
apply for a
the day
permit?
I receive a letter, I'm sorry. The day I receive a letter, I just like drive to Granby town hall.
So, excuse me, someone just walked into my house yelling. So
No worries.
I'm gonna ask him to be quiet. Okay, please. Looks like I've got the noise under control.
No,
So
no.
did you in fact stay open, or did the confusion have you shut down the store and not have you open?
No. So soon as I receive the letter, on the same day I go to Granby town hall and I apply for the lessons. And
but your
right now
whole,
I'm out of
pardon?
sorry, and right now I'm out of country too. Like right now I'm in back in my home country, and that's why I'm doing Zoom meeting. Like I'm not even US right now.
I see. Lee, what are you thinking? Today, Ali, that one of our members is, is out, and I'm concerned that, that, the three members should be deciding whether we're gonna continue with this fine or not, rather than just two of us. I don't know what Lee thinks. So Lee, you've got questions to ask Ali,
Well,
or
I guess I want to ask Colleen a question, if the time frame that we just heard makes sense to you, Colleen, since you were the one that sent the letters out, as far as the letter going out and then the response from the store.
Well, yeah, Ally, I think definitely had the applications sent to him several times, more than once. So, you know, he was aware. He did say he went out of the country when he first received it. That was the middle of November. But he had also, I believe, come in and gotten those same things earlier than that when he bought the store. So, yeah, I mean, I know he did say he was out of the country, but he did receive those applications more than once.
Okay. So prior to the departure out of the country, the applications were sent out to the store in question.
Yes.
and Colleen,
well-
does the license, have the date that it expires on it?
Yes.
It's so all the lessons are it's from the last owner, not from me. And I do have a proof that I told my, like, I give permission to my counter. I told him he going to apply for lottery lessons and all the lessons for me to run that business.
So you operated without any lottery license as well for a month?
No, there is there is lottery lessons. So right now I'm out of country, like back in my home country. But before I come, like I told my counter, I want to make sure. Like at the time I bought a business, I told my counter I would like to get all the lessons. So my counter worked on all the lessons, and he almost applied for everything. And I thought he maybe apply for that one too. Because if you guys go visit my business, you can see on the wall, I do have all the other lessons from state beside that town one. And I got a little bit confused. I thought he maybe already apply for it, and that's the only one thing mix up. And plus I didn't visit to my business like a daily base. Otherwise, like because over there I get some letters, like I wish like I visit every day so I can see those letters too.
I'm guessing that if you didn't send in the lottery license, they would be in very shortly to either demand payment or remove the machine and the tickets. So I'm confused as
No,
to.
they've been. I'm sorry to interrupt you. No, they everything been already. My what do you call, my counter? He already sent me a proof that whatever he applied for, he just like sent me a few days ago. And there's already a lot of lessons over there. On the day was my flight. All they just need my new business. So I already have business account. So I'll give them new business account, and then they already apply for it. And right now, I think they already approved me for business lessons, and I do have a permission from the last owner to use their lessons until I get my own lessons. And 99.99%, I already get my new lessons.
But as you say that, the owner may allow you to use the license, which he may or may not have the authority to do, but regardless of that, you have a license that says right on it that it ends at the end of the calendar year. And my own feeling is that especially with cigarettes, that's a serious substance to be selling in any town. And and you need to be serious about it. We know that this location has been fined before for not complying with the town and the state regulations on cigarettes. And again, as my feeling is, it's your responsibility, just as it's your responsibility to pay your employees, to pay your bills for the produce that, or the products that come in that you sell. And that's part of doing business. So, so again,
And on
Lee,
the day, I'm sorry.
go
On
ahead.
the day I receive a letter, when I go to my store, I see a letter. I did pick up the letter, and there was an application with it. I pick up and I directly go to Granby Town Hall, and I pay for to apply for that lessons. And I wish my employees send me a picture of it or something
Yeah.
before, because I thought like my counter, he already applied for it, so I don't have to worry about it. That's the only confusion
Yeah.
messed up.
As Colleen says, that you or the former person that when did you take ownership of this house?
Um, I believe in beginning of November.
Yeah, so here Colleen is saying
November
that,
21st or
yeah, so that first letter was there in November. And again, my feeling as we discuss it is that is your responsibility to know what licenses you need. And as Lee mentioned, that the licenses that would come crashing down on you immediately from the state, that was taken care of. But Lee, my suggestion is that you and I not pursue this without making a decision without Bill being involved as well, because I don't know.
Yeah, I would agree that all three members should be present for this type of discussion, and the potential activity should be a full board, not just two members. I agree.
Okay, so that's what we're gonna do, Ali. Colleen, could you, so that Ali can keep track of what we're doing, can you let's put this on the agenda for the 28th, and let's let the discussion occur at 7:15. So that,
Okay,
Ali, if you're still out of the country, that way you don't have to spend then an undue time wondering when we're going to discuss it. So you'll be able to listen to what the discussion is.
Yes, and Richard, one more thing. Uh, because I throw like pour everything to my counter, he did get a lot of lessons, and that's the only he lessons missed up, missed to apply. And plus, because the only reason I apply for, I cannot afford that, because my business right now it's like under $700 daily. Sometimes it's 400 or 500, where like I'm paying my employee out of my own pocket. Because when I bought the business, they told me like the sale, whatever is the sale average, it's not even 50% of it. And I'm losing a lot of money. I'm paying out of my pocket, and that's why I apply for. So it'd be super helpful for me if you guys can forgive me that.
Okay, so we
Colleen,
should include that in our decision.
I'd be really appreciate you guys.
Colleen, can you tell me when the common victualer's license was paid for?
Common victulars, that's through the select board.
Oh, okay, it's not us.
It's not us, no.
Okay. Can we, at some point between now and our next discussion, find out when that occurred?
I can find out, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay, Ollie, have a good night, and thank you for being with us.
Okay, thank you.
Uh, Thank you, Richard.
Okay, bye.
Thank you.
So the next item that I have is, Colleen, you sent us I guess it was a complaint on 115 Morgan Street about a trailer.
Oh, yes, uh-huh.
I went out there today, and Lee, I don't know if you're aware of the complaint. I don't know if you saw Colleen's.
I did not.
Okay, so what we were asked, or Colleen was asked, is that an owner says that he allowed someone to put a trailer on his property, and the person, I guess if I'm correct, Colleen, he said that he allowed him to stay in it for some number of days and told him to leave, that he doesn't want the trailer there anymore and people living there. And the person that's living in the trailer says he's going to stay, and he wants the Board of Health to say it's illegal to live there. But I did go over, and there is looks like a little travel trailer. I'm guessing 16, 18, 20 feet. And there's a green tarp over it. I can't tell what the purpose of the tarp is. I couldn't see. There were no cars near it, but there were two things that I thought of. Is one is that it would be the building inspector that would be the first person that said you can't live in a trailer for so many days in a year. It wasn't obvious to me that there's sewage going on the ground, but I really think that if the building inspector found someone doing that and said it was not legal, the building inspector would tell the owner that he can't do it. And it's the owner that says that it's not under his control. And so my feeling is that this is a civil or criminal case, not a Board of Health case. And that if someone is trespassing on your property, you either call the police and say, I've got a trespasser, and go through the courts to try to deal with that. What is your thought, Lee?
No, I would concur. It seems a little bit, depending how you look at it, a little bit ridiculous that they make a casual deal, and when it doesn't work out, then and only then do we get notified of the issue, not prior to get maybe a definition of whether you should or shouldn't do this in the town. But yeah, you're right. It's not our realm to do this.
So Colleen, what we're saying, if you could get back to that owner and say, the Board of Health feels that this is a criminal or civil issue, not a Board of Health issue, and that he should pursue getting the trespasser off of his property.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
The next thing that I have, Lee, is the letter on remote meetings. I took as an assignment at the last meeting to modify the last letter that we sent out asking for an extension on permission to meet remotely. I did that. I sent it to Colleen, and Colleen distributed it for discussion at today's meeting, and a decision as to whether we want to send it out and to whom we want to send it out.
Yes, I did see that letter, went through it. I think it's ready to go. I mean, it's really hits a lot of good points. I believe it's ready to be sent out. I'm not clear, not that it really matters how we're gonna get the most mileage out of it, who's gonna read it and who's gonna not read it, but yeah, it's ready to go. I just feel a little bit, remote as far as not having anybody that we could have called on in the past still be in office anywhere to get something in our, and not just the town of Granby, but all the small towns. in the
Yeah,
Same boat.
as a suggestion, certainly I'll give a list, Lee, and then we can pick it apart. I would look at it
Sure.
to send it to the governor and lieutenant governor. I would do all of the boards of health in the state. But I would also, knowing that the Senate is discussing this very issue, send it to every state senator. Certainly, do we in fact send it to all of the state reps?
That'd be a good idea. Yeah.
So if we
Well,
did that,
I mean-
Colleen, we'd at least get some visibility on it.
Okay.
For sure, sending some kind of a personal copy to our rep and our senator. And a personal copy to the governor and lieutenant governor. And the address that I put on for the governor, I didn't have the address for the governor. I just copied it when
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the governor was what, secretary,
Mm-hmm.
attorney general, I think she was.
Mm-hmm. Yes, right. What did you say about the boards of health? What boards of health did we
I would
say?
send it to all the boards of health in the state. Unfortunately, it's like 376 boards of health.
That's a lot of boards of health. Yeah. Well, I can, I'll be doing email, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And I guess since it is a law we're trying to change, I guess the attorney general again should be someone that gets their own copy of this too.
Okay.
And let's see if we can at least get some traction from it. Is that what you
Mhm.
think, Lee?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I have to believe that most of the towns out this way, maybe even in the middle or eastern part of the state, some of the remote towns, have gotten used to the efficiency and the common sense that the Zoom meetings make, and hopefully they, would take the same spirit and get on it. And that's the only thing that usually most politicians listen to numbers. And again, your point is valid that they're discussing it now. So this is the perfect time to at least get it into motion and try to get them to keep that same spirit moving.
Yeah, and I'm just looking that if anything that I would hope that with the governor so intent that cutting down greenhouse gases and going with energy conservation that she would say, wow, we should encourage people to not open buildings up, schools, towns halls, and the at night for big buildings with lots of energy to heat and cool and light for little activities. And this is a way to avoid doing that stuff. Plus all the people that are getting in cars and driving places only to comply with this regulation.
Yeah, all that energy and movement for maybe an hour or less of time.
Yeah,
That so many hours of heat and or air conditioning. Not to mention the driving time back and forth at night, which in itself it has a much higher danger risk. So yeah, it all makes perfect sense to do what we're doing now.
yeah. And on top of all of that, it lets people get involved, that anybody that wants, instead of having to get in their car to go and if in our case, if they want to spend 10 minutes to listen to one part of our meeting, they end up someone has to get ready to make a trip to go and sit down, to finally listen and then go back. And what happens is people just say, you know what, it's really not worth it. Versus
Well,
just look in and say, I'd like to listen and participate.
right, and this gives a families a unique opportunity as well.
Right.
I have a couple of young children, maybe at or near bedtime, a meeting which to them is important. Again, not just this town, but all over the state, gives them a unique opportunity for participation while still maintaining a normal life.
In fact, a
So, yeah,
perfect example is tonight with Ali. That is in a different country. I don't know. I'm not sure what country he's in, but he says he's in a different country and he's able to be at our meeting and talk to us because we're meeting remotely.
exactly. Yep, absolutely.
Oh, okay. I've got another one that is 276 Amherst Street. That is the old Booton property that was being used for the marijuana grow operation, the big one. And
Yep.
do you think since I was the one that was in there, well, I was in there with Greg before he left. So now we've got the building inspector is gone. We've got another building inspector that guessing he's been into this place from the letter that he sent out saying it complies with their regulations. We're asking Lynn to go in. Is this the thing that what I ought to do is have Colleen get in touch with Lynn and have Lynn get in touch with me and I should go in with Lynn and walk through to talk to her as we inspect compared to what I saw when I was in there? Is that the way to do this?
Yeah, I mean, you've got the you've got the background on this. I'm completely ignorant of what the interior of the place was like as far as moisture. I doubt it was heated this winter. There could be some broken pipes. I'm not sure about mold, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, Lynn for sure has to be involved. Building inspector's got to be on this thing. Maybe, masking for sure, because no one knows what is in the air in that building. And I don't know if the state. I may be talking through my hat here, but I don't know if the state has any insight or regulatory concerns from the amount of heat and moisture that was generated in that scenario for these grow operations, if they come up with something that shouldn't be done.
Yeah, the building inspector on the other house had taken the lead. He actually required mold work be done and get a mold company in it sounded like the state didn't get involved. They were looking at just saying, it's got to comply with the building regulations. They're not, there was mold. But I don't know what's been done on this one. Maybe what you're saying is probably rightly is it shouldn't be just Len and me, since it was a building inspector issue too, that the building inspector should go in too. And so the three of us go in. Maybe Colleen can make those arrangements and let's go through. And I don't know, I'm guessing we can't just walk in. Somebody must have the keys to get in there and go through it. I don't know what we're gonna find.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, depending on what happens, if it's, and I don't have any concept of the activity of mold growth after something's been really, really damp for a long period of time. Then it goes through a cooling off period when the power was shut off, I think, so that when the power gets put back on, are they going to strip the place down to the bare 2x and re-insulate and re-sheetrock the whole place, or just try to do a quickie clean up and put it back on the market?
Yeah.
And at that point, is the mold going to become an issue in July or August when everybody's gone?
Yeah, and Greg went in and looked at it. We've got a new building inspector. I have no idea what his credentials are or his experience or anything. And I don't know, has he ever looked at it? Did Greg tell someone strip everything down, and then in the meantime, because Greg left, does something get done and the new building inspector comes in and said, I don't know, I just come in, for all I know, they just put a coat of paint on everything. And so probably even before the inspection, the new building inspector ought to be talking to the old building inspector if he can, and say, what is it that they were told to do? And
yeah, if Greg left some field notes on this particular house, there was two right across, as you know, right down the street from each other. One was on Aldrich,
right,
on 276. But yeah, I'm just concerned, and again, I don't know if I'm even close to being correct, that the mold issue could be a real nut to wrestle with later in life. And we don't want this to be dumped in the lap of a family moving in, of course. And I don't know if again, as somebody, I think you mentioned earlier, whether or not the mold abatement company should, maybe we can't spec this out, but maybe they need to assess this.
Yeah, well, Greg really came down hard on the one on Aldrich Street. And that was not, if you put orders of magnitude, this one on Amherst Street compared to Aldrich Street, the one we're talking about here,
Yeah.
was an order of magnitude worse than the one on Aldrich Street.
That was my
And-
impression.
Yeah. So for Greg to be coming down so hard on the one on Aldrich Street, I'm guessing he would have been coming down much harder on this other one. So that's easy to see with Greg's having left, how this could easily be slipping through the cracks. So it seems, Colleen, maybe the best thing is for you to see if you can get the building inspector to talk to me first, to see what we're dealing with. And then
Okay.
once I do that, then I'll have you get in touch with Lynn and
Okay.
get the building inspector, Lynn and me, there and see at least what's going on. But for sure, having the building inspector, the new building inspector, talk to the old building inspector certainly seems like a good first step to see what's going on, because this could absolutely fall through the cracks that all these things you're talking about, Lee, are just behind some, I'll say paint, it could be sheetrock, it could be whatever, but it was terrible in there.
Well, and my concern is that I don't know who the buyer is, but I'm under the impression that this is going to be a theoretical purchase, quick clean, sell, and get out, and let the next buyer beware. And that's not, I don't think, what we really want.
No, and it's probably reasonable to assume that the same people that bought the house and chose to use it for illegal purposes are going to try to recoup whatever they can from it. And who knows, to just pass it on, doing some more illegal work, to just pass it to the next person. And I don't know if that's the case. It could be that a bank is doing this and that the people that should have gone to jail, who maybe didn't go to jail, may no longer be involved with it. So,
Yeah, but I think the point is valid that this particular scenario really needs to be brought in the light of day to really ensure that we're doing our side of due diligence to protect the next potential owner.
okay. So Colleen, that's what we'll do. If you can get in touch with the building inspector, you can give him my cell phone. Let's start with
Okay.
a talk there, see where we are, and then arrange to have Len, the building inspector, and me. But if everything's been done properly, if it hasn't been done properly, then maybe the building inspector is gonna have to do some more work. But
Yeah.
at least we'll get it started. And the person that's requesting us to act will be moving forward and complying with his request.
Okay. That's good.
Lee and Colleen, do you have anything else? I'm looking at my list. I don't have anything else.
Okay. Do you want me to put, I don't know if you even had a chance to look at it or if you got it, Bumpy's Natural and Organic Foods, his application for the,
I did see that. That's just a renewal as far as I can see. Is that correct?
yes, it is.
Lee, do you have a problem with that one?
No, I think everything, I don't think there was I don't remember any complaints at all previously.
Okay, Colleen, I'm okay with that one. If Lee is, then we can have you sign that
Okay.
too.
Okay, all right, yes, retail food and milk, yeah. Okay, perfect.
If that's the case, then we can remain at home but without each other. Okay. Okay, everybody. Have a good night. And have a good
Okay.
Valentine's
Have a good
Day.
Good night,
night.
folks.
Bye.
Yeah,
Bye.
too, all right, take care.